Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca of Aero 3B and my tech talk topic in experimental aerodynamics is about measurements and uncertainties. So measurements play a vital role in performing experiments in experimental aerodynamics. So first, what is the need of experiments? What is the objective of performing experiments? So the main objective is to make it possible to determine the influence of various features of design and modifications to them in a safe, quick, direct and relatively less expensive manner. And they also provide information of a fundamental nature, usually in conjunction with theoretical work. So these are the objectives of experiments. So to perform any experiment in experimental aerodynamics, we require some measurements like measurement of pressure, temperature, velocity, volume, etc. So to find these measurements, there are some measurement techniques and measurement systems. So let us know about measurements. So coming to measurement techniques, there are a large variety of measurement techniques that are used in the field of experimental aerodynamics and fluid mechanics. To have an idea about the different types of measurements, let us see some examples given below. The first one is wind tunnel studies, second one analog methods, and the third one flow visualization. So these are the three important measurement techniques which are used to measure the quantities like pressure, temperature, etc. to perform the experiments. Let us know about each measurement technique in detail. So first one, wind tunnel studies. Wind tunnels are used for numerous investigations ranging from fundamental research to industrial aerodynamics. Many wind tunnel studies aim at the determination of forces on scaled models of aircraft, aircraft components, automobiles, buildings, and so on. Forces such as lift and drag acting on the models being tested are known to obey the following law of similitude. So if we want to measure the lift forces, drag forces, and flow visualization on aircraft components, automobile components, and so on, we use the measurement technique of internal studies. So when we use this method, the models which we are using to do the experiment must follow the law of similitude. And the law of similitude states that force is equal to half into rho v square into SCN, where S is the surface area or cross-sectional area of the model depending on the application. The force coefficient Cn is known to be a function of several non-dimensional parameters. The prime ones among such dimensionless parameters used in aerodynamics are mainly Reynolds number and Mach number, whereas Reynolds number is given as the ratio of inertia force to the viscous force, which is given as rho VL by mu, where rho is the density, v is the velocity of flow, respectively, and mu is the dynamic viscosity coefficient, and L is the characteristic length, whereas the Mach number is given as the ratio of inertia force to the elastic force, where v is the speed of sound in air and a is the speed of sound of the object. To correlate the data, velocity is measured with pitot static tube or hot wire anemometer or laser Doppler anemometer, and the temperature and pressure are obtained with appropriate instrumentation. The forces and the movements on a model are usually determined with specially designed balance or surface pressure measurements. The density is usually calculated from the measured pressure and temperature. So this is about the internal studies. In internal studies, we mainly measure and calculate the Reynolds number, Mach number, dynamic viscosity, density, velocity, pressure, temperature, etc. So coming to the other method, which is analog methods. By analog methods, problems may be solved by setting up another physical system, such as an electric field, for which the governing equations are of the same form as those for the problem to be solved with corresponding boundary conditions. The solution of the original problem may be obtained experimentally from measurements on the analogous system. Some of the well-known analog methods are for solving Fluid flow problems are the helicoanalogy, the electrolytic tank, and the surface waves in a ripple tank. So this is about analog methods. And coming to the other method, it is the flow visualization. Flow visualization is one of the important measurement technique to do the experiments in experimental aerodynamics. Apart from the conventional methods of experimentally investigating flow patterns by means of pressure and velocity surveys, fluid flows lend themselves to numerous visualization techniques. Some of the popularly employed flow visualization methods for fluid flow analysis are flow visualization with smoke, tuft, chemical coating, interferometer, sclering, and shadowgraph. Some of the techniques which we generally and mostly use are the smoke generated from wood and kerosene smoke generator. And in sclering, we use the mirror source and lenses where we can determine the flow visualization on aerofoils and other aircraft components, etc. So this is about flow visualization technique. Next, coming to the measurement systems, we have seen about the measurement techniques. Now coming to the measurement systems. Basically, the main components of a measurement system may be classified into the following three categories. The first one is the sensing element, the second one is the signal converter, and the third one is the display. So let us see about each component in a detailed manner. First one is the sensing element. A sensing element is also called as a transducer. For example, the bulb of a mercury in glass thermometer, the diaphragm in a pressure transducer are sensing elements. The transducer is in some way in contact with the quantity to be measured and produces some signal, which is related to the quantity being measured. A typical sensing process is illustrated schematically in figure. For example, if we take in our daily life, we use the thermometer to measure the temperature of our body. So when we put the thermometer in our mouth, it senses the temperature and receives the temperature signal. When the thermometer bulb receives the temperature signal from our body, expansion of mercury in the thermometer takes place. So here thermometer bulb acts as the sensing element, and this is the illustration of a sensing element response. Next, signal converter. Signal converter is a device to convert the output from the sensing element to a desired form and feed the same to a display unit. A typical example of a signal converter is the amplifier, which receives a small signal from the sensing element and makes it large enough to activate the display. So the main function of the signal converter is to sense a small signal and convert it into large signal to activate the display. And coming to the third component, it is the display. The display is yet another vital part of a measuring system. It is here the information from the sensing element which is converted into a desired form by the signal converter is read by the experimenter. A typical example of a display system is the combination of a dial and a pointer, as in the case of a dial pressure gauge. So these are the three important components of a measurement system. So coming to the performance terms, while performing experiments and while noting the measurements, we need some performance terms which are very much important in measuring the quantities like pressure, temperature, etc. Some of the performance terms which are most commonly used, which are associated with measurement terms are accuracy, error, repeatability, reliability, reproducibility, lag, range, resolution, sensitivity, dead space, threshold, and hysteresis. Let us see in a shortly about each of these performance terms. So what is accuracy? Accuracy of a measuring device is maybe defined as the extent to which the reading given by it is close to the exact value. Next, what is error? Error is the difference between the measured value and the true value of the quality being measured. Repeatability. The repeatability of an instrument is its ability to display the same reading as long as its sensor element is fed the same signal. Reliability. The reliability of a measuring system is the probability that it will operate with an agreeable accuracy under the conditions specified for its operation. Reproducibility. The reproducibility of a measuring device is its ability to display the same reading when it is used to measure the same quantity over a period of time, or when the time quantity is measured on a number of instants. Lag. The lag of an instrument is the time interval between the time of input and the time of display in the reading. Range. The range of an instrument is the limits between the minimum and the maximum readings measurable by it. Resolution. The resolution of an instrument is the smallest change in the quantity being measured that will produce an observable change in the reading of the instrument. Sensitivity. The sensitivity of an instrument is its response to any change in the quantity being measured. Dead space. The dead space of a measuring device is the range of values of the quantity being measured for which it gives no reading. Threshold. The threshold is the minimum level of the quantity that is being measured, which has to be reached before the instrument responds and gives a detectable reading. Hysteresis. The hysteresis is that characteristic which makes an instrument give different readings for the same value of measured quantity, depending on whether the value has been reached by a continuously increasing change or continuously decreasing change. So, while noting the measurements in an experiment, we have to keep the performance terms in views. We have to check all these performance terms. These are very much important in measuring. So that is about measurements. And let us know what is uncertainty. As we know, the aim of any experiment is to measure some physical quantities as accurately as possible. In a few experiments, we look for only qualitative information of the type yes or no. Example, yes, there is a detached shock at the nose of blunt body kept in a supersonic stream. In such cases, the discussion of experimental accuracy should be in terms of the probability that the conclusion is correct. But in a vast majority of cases, the experiment produces a numerical quantity. In such experiments, the error in the measurement must be estimated to arrive at the conclusion about the accuracy of the results obtained. The error involved may be due to uncertainties of various kinds. Uncertainties occur in an experiment because of a number of reasons. The possible imperfection of the theory on which the experiment is based, the imperfection of the instrument used for measurement, and the imperfection of the part of the observer are some of the major causes of uncertainties. Let us see some of the consequences of these errors on the measured qualities and the methods for analyzing these errors. So, uncertainty analysis. So, some of the uncertainties can be analyzed and can be removed, which is discussed here in the uncertainty analysis. As we know, no measurement is perfectly accurate. Hence, it is essential to estimate the inaccuracies associated with the measured values to access the validity of the results. It is now generally agreed that the appropriate concept for expressing inaccuracies is uncertainty, and that the value should be provided by an uncertainty analysis. There is a difference between uncertainty and error. Error is defined as a measurement in which it is the difference between the correct value and the recorded value. An error is a fixed number and not a statistical variable, and it cannot be changed. Whereas uncertainty is a possible value that the error might take on in a given measurement. Since the uncertainty can take on various values over a range, it is basically a statistical variable. Uncertainty can be considered as a histogram of values. In a broad sense, a measured value describes the central tendency, usually the mean, whereas the uncertainty describes the dispersion, usually in terms of a measure associated with a stated probability level such as standard deviation. Ideally, this measure of uncertainty is calculated from repeated trials, but it may need to be taken from estimates in a whole or part in many experiments. So this is about uncertainty analysis. Some of the important uses of uncertainty analysis are: it forces a complete examination of the experimental procedure, including the potential sources of error, and it is useful to identify the need for employing improved instruments and or improved procedure to obtain the desired output accuracy. And it is also used to minimize instrument cost for a given output accuracy, to identify the instrument and or procedure which controls accuracy, to provide the basis for guarantees of accuracy in commercial tests of large equipment such as power plants. It also allows design of probes for minimum uncertainty. So these are some of the important uses of uncertainty analysis. Uncertainty estimation. So here is a equation given, which is the general expression for estimating the uncertainties in any calculated value from measured data. However, this expression has to be cast in the appropriate form before using to estimate the uncertainty. Generally, by using this expression, we can estimate the uncertainty and correct the uncertainties. So, uncertainty calculation. Generally, uncertainty analysis is the procedure used to quantify data validity and accuracy. Uncertainty analysis will also be useful in identifying the potential sources of unacceptable errors and suggesting improved measurement methods. So usually experimental errors will be of two types. The first one is the fixed or systematic error, which makes repeated measurements to be in error by the same amount for each trial. This error is the same for each reading and can be removed by the proper calibration or correction. And the second experimental error is the random error, which is also called as non-repeatability. It is different for every reading and hence cannot be removed. The factors that introduce random error are certain by their nature. So by using these errors, we can calculate the uncertainties. So using this uncertainty analysis and uncertainty estimation, we can remove the uncertainties in an experiment, and we can take the correct measurement values, and we can get the correct results of an experiment. And by this, we can do many experiments in experimental aerodynamics. Thank you.